even before that, that was in 51 or 2 when I was asked to sign that. And when I was in Hollywood in the 40s, I was very aware. I sat at the writers' table at MGM, and I had a friend named Lester Cole. And we used to go out to dinner together. I sat with him almost every day at lunch, along with Audrey Totter. I was in love with an actress named Audrey Totter. And we let her sit at the writers' table. And Lester Cole was one of the people who went to prison as a communist. I was innocent. I was unaware. I was liberal in my persuasion, and I had read John Reed, Granville Hicks' book on John Reed, and I had read 10 Days That Shook the World by John Reed. And I would say I was soft on communism. I had always had a hard time believing that everybody taking all they could get for themselves, the capitalist theory of free enterprise, that if everybody does the best they can and takes the most they can, that it'll be the best for everybody. I always had a hard time with that. It always seemed as though it was an awfully selfish. I mean, if there's anything good about the world, it didn't seem to me as though things should work that way. So to that extent, I was soft on communism. And a bunch of people from Yank and the Stars and Stripes, not a lot of them, but a few of them. There was a man named Mark Blitzstein who had written a popular musical called The Cradle Will Rock. And he started a group in New York that was probably, some of them must have been Communist Party members. And I used to see them over at a bar on 3rd Avenue called Costello's. They met over there frequently. But I never got involved, and it was a good thing. I don't know. And out in Hollywood, I was asked to go to a dinner one night as a fundraiser for the hospital in Barcelona. It's in the Basque region of Spain. And we were at these big tables, and they came around asking how much we were going to pledge. And I was the cheapest one there. I pledged $25. But I still have the check I wrote, the canceled check. And it turns out it was a communist front. This Barcelona hospital was a front for communist fundraising. And I gave $25 to it. I mean, I could have been on the list. Not that I know of. I've asked the FBI for my files, but they won't give it to me. They say there are other people on it who it might embarrass, and I don't know whether there's anything. I don't think so. I don't think I ever got on any lists, no. I think we were more apt to be belligerent and defiant. We all knew it was wrong. And for one thing, I had nothing to hide. I would have said what I just said to you then. The biggest trouble you could get in was supporting somebody who was out and out communist. I mean, there were people who were on the Godfrey show who were revealed to be communist, and I think he probably didn't have them on again. I mean, a comedian named Gilbert, and there were several others, but I don't know whether Godfrey was subject to much pressure or not. If he was, I was not aware of it. And I am much saddened by it. I have come to know Dr. Stanton. He was Dr. Stanton for most of my working life. He has become Frank Stanton to me. He's become a friend. I've had lunch with him several times. We see each other at gatherings. He did some very brave things in relation to the First Amendment, and it may have been, I hate to say anything suggesting I'm negative. He did some very brave things in relation to defending our First Amendment rights, and it may just possibly have been his embarrassed reaction to not always having done the right thing in the early days of the Blacklist, because he was magnificent in Congress defending our First Amendment rights. And he did not have to be that brave. He risked his career, he risked millions of CBS dollars, and he did the brave thing. So at the time, I was a Godfrey writer. I didn't know what Frank Stanton was doing. I didn't care much. He was just Dr. Stanton, and he was so far beyond me. I was never a person who was greatly aware of those things. For the same reason I didn't join the other Stars and Stripes people trying to elect Henry Wallace President of the United States. I was interested in indoors. I was interested in other things than politics or economics.